are like crack, and they will run your life and make you a mean, malicious person, let alone raise your blood pressure through the roof. Or maybe that's just me. After 3 years of hardcore raiding on World of Warcraft, and another year experimenting with PvP on Warhammer Online, and checking out Age of Conan, EVE Online, and Tabula Rasa, and the years beforehand with EverQuest, Acheron's Call, and Meridian 59, I can clearly say that MMOs have run my life for the past 10 years. Well, last April, I just gave up on them cold turkey as I didn't like the person I was becoming when I played them, and that's when I started reviewing games. And then my little brother graduates college and starts working for Cryptic Studios as a 3D artist and one of the ship designers for Star Trek Online. Great, now I have to check out another MMO. So, obviously I'm a bit biased, and that's not fair for me to review this game for you, but I would like to talk about it a bit. When you're done watching this, make sure to head over to my new channel, Zeitgeist Other. That's got great gameplay footage up for all the games I'll be reviewing. First and foremost, the storyline in Star Trek Online takes place in the prime Star Trek reality. Recall that the most recent movie involved a bunch of time travel and altering of history, and likely that will lead to sequels and a whole new storyline. This game takes place outside of that, about 20 years following the adventures of Jean-Luc Picard. Now, there are two factions represented, the Federation and the Klingons, but at launch, the storyline and missions of only the Federation will be available, with the Klingon campaign releasing shortly after. That means if you want to play in the Klingon faction, you'll be forced only to level up via player versus player. Obviously, this is going to upset a lot of people, but that's just the way that it is. The Federation campaign opens with a story voiced by Leonard Nimoy, letting you know that following the destruction of the Romulan homeworld, the Klingon took it upon themselves to expand their empire in that area, and thus war broke out. On top of that, the Borg have begun attacking the sectors near Earth, and you're in one of the ships in that area. Your ship has come to the aid of the USS Khitomer. Having recently been attacked by the Borg, you beam on board and clear them out for a tutorial of ground combat. Upon beaming back aboard your ship, you'll find that the higher-ranking officers have all been killed, leaving you in control of the ship. You then need to fly around and beam aboard survivors from other ships in distress, take out some Borg, and once the tutorial is complete, you head to Starfleet Command outside of Earth, and the game really begins from here.
Target's shields have failed.
It's rumored to take something like 80 hours to reach the max level of 45, and I can certainly believe that. I played all last week and barely hit level 11. The game is divided into tiers, and as you progress through them, you'll gain access to more powerful ships. The ship you start with is very weak, but it's able to perform a wide variety of abilities to help you determine how you're going to play the game later. At level 11, you gain access to your first specialized ship. Cruisers are the tanks with massive amounts of armor, shields, and plenty of room for equipment and weapons. Escorts are your damage dealers, offering faster maneuverability and the ability to equip the most powerful weapons, and science vessels are your buff and debuff class with the ability to repair other ships' shields. The UI is fully customizable, allowing you to set it up however you like without mods. The quests in the game have you traveling all over the galaxy on both space and ground missions, doing all kinds of Star Trek-y things like rescuing ships, scanning cargo bays, and of course killing a crapload of bad guys. Every zone in the game is instanced, which means that there are a lot of short loading screens, but more importantly, the areas are never overcrowded. Guilds or clans in Star Trek Online are known as fleets, and the raids are known as fleet actions, but in my playtime, I was unable to participate in any of these things. Obviously, the greatest part of MMOs are the gameplay, and Star Trek Online brings you something new to the table by offering both space and ground combat missions, and as such, you have to manage the skills and abilities of your characters for both of these aspects. As you play the game, you'll gain skill points that are shared between the ground and space skills, and there aren't enough points in the game to max out and learn every skill, which leads me to believe that in the end game, you're going to see very unique players, as finally, not every character will be identical to the others. With that, you're also able to customize the look of your ship, so you won't look the same as everyone else. In addition to managing your own stats, you've got a full crew of officers that you'll be able to select and level up over time. Each officer has their own skill tree as well that you'll be able to assign points to, giving special powers to your space and ground missions. The space combat is very intense and takes a lot of attention. Not only are you flying in 3D space, but you've got to manage your weapons and abilities, your targets, your power, and your shield management. You've got to tactically place yourself in position to hit your enemy shields in the same place while you limit the damage coming into your own shields. It really makes you feel like the captain of your own starship. The ground combat is quite a bit simpler and feels pretty much like World of Warcraft with guns. Your officers will also beam to the ground with you and back you up in missions if there aren't enough human players around. Well, I just built a new gaming PC, so I was able to max out the graphics in this beautiful game. The ships look awesome, the space environments are stunning, and the ground missions just look amazing. There's also a wide variety of environments that you'll come across, and they're so detailed that they really immerse you into the action. But if you really want to check out a bunch of the great presentation, head on over to my other channel. While there isn't much voice acting in the game, Leonard Nimoy recorded a bunch of little blips that you'll listen to as you enter new zones, and of course it's awesome to hear Spock as you play through the game. The sound effects are everything you would expect, and I found it special every time you complete a quest or kill a special ship, a subtle Star Trek ditty will play in the background. With that, the soundtrack is wonderful and fully orchestrated. The combat music is intense, and you'll hear a bunch of familiar tunes as you boldly go where no man has gone before. It's tough to cover all the aspects of MMOs because they're just so massive. Having only a week to play Star Trek Online, I wasn't even able to scratch the surface of this monster, but you can bet your ass I'm going to keep trekking as often as I can. Being that my brother was involved in the development of this game, it's not fair for me to tell you whether or not I think you'll like this game, but I obviously loved it. If you love MMOs, Star Trek, or are just looking for something new, it might be worth your time to check this out when it's released in February. Have some questions or comments? Make sure to leave them below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and register at ZeitgeistGameReview.com.